In this video, we're going to take a look at finding the inverse of a function. So the important thing to realize in writing the inverse of a function is that an inverse really just switches the x and the y. So if I have the function f of x equals 2x plus 3, I need to start by realizing that f of x is the same thing as y. And if I'm trying to write the inverse of that function, I'm going to take my y, I'm going to take my x, and I'm going to switch their positions. So I'm going to rewrite this equation as x equals 2y plus 3. Notice that the 2 did not move with the x, only the x and the y switch places. Any coefficients remain where they are. So now, I just have to isolate this y. So I'm going to start by subtracting 3. So x minus 3 equals 2y, and now I'm going to divide by 2. So I'm going to get x over 2 minus 3 over 2 equals y, and I'm going to rewrite that in function notation, so f to the negative 1 of x is equal to x over 2 minus 3 over 2. So this is the inverse function of f of x. And the negative 1 exponent is just a fancy way of me saying that f negative 1 of x is the inverse of f of x. So let's try that again. So I'm going to start by recognizing that I really just have y equals 2x plus 10. And I'm going to take my x and my y, and I'm going to switch them. So x equals 2y plus 10, going to subtract 10. Now I'm going to divide by 2, so x over 2 minus 5 equals y. My inverse function is g to the negative 1 of x is equal to x over 2 minus 5. Now of course I should also remember that with inverses it's really easy to check to see that I came up with the correct inverse equation. Because if you take the composition of two inverse functions, then whatever it is that you input should be your output. So if I were to take the inverse of g and plug it into g, really I'm starting with an input of x. So if I investigate this relationship, plugging in the inverse of g in for the x in the g function, I get x minus 10 plus 10, which is just x. So going back, my input was x, my output is also x. Thus, these two functions must be inverses of each other. That saves me from having to hope that I did the problem correctly and knowing that my teacher is going to mark that right.